Welcome to the Create What You Speak podcast. Join me as we have a real-life discussion on how to change your life by changing your thoughts. Remember, question everything, trust yourself, and find your truth. Welcome to the Create What You Speak podcast. My name is Sloan Fremont, and I'm your host. And this week, we're going to be talking about what the truth feels like. So you probably noticed a little bit of a difference with the intro. I'm changing things up a little bit. I'm no longer going to be doing songs for the show. If you're new to the show, I used to do a intro and outro song that the lyrics tied in with the show. But this is season 3 of the show, and it's just time to change some things up. So I had some music made for just specifically for this podcast. I love it. I feel like it's very, very intense kind of, and that's why I feel like we're in these intense times right now. So I wanted the music to reflect that. So new intro, new outro, that's what's going to be going forward. So just time to do things a little differently, like I said. So I hope you like it. I had a lot of fun. I actually had it created on Fiverr, if you've ever used that site. I hadn't used it for a while, but yeah, it was a really good experience, and I was really happy with that. And I'm also going to be starting here. I'm having somebody else do some video editing for me, and I'm going to be creating some videos with little topics throughout the week. I feel like sometimes I have so much to say that just doing the show once a week, I don't know, sometimes just doesn't feel enough. So I'm going to be doing a few short videos throughout the week. So look for those coming up here in the next probably couple of weeks, whenever the editing gets done. Let's see, what else can I tell you? It feels like I haven't talked to you in a while. I took a last week off. Well, part of the reason, and another update I have is my boyfriend deployed. He's in the Army. He just deployed to the Middle East for 9 months. So that's been difficult. It was an understatement, but he's there. I talked to him, and he sounds good. So that's been very draining, honestly, over the past couple of weeks. I feel like the leading up to it part it was very draining. So anyway, that's part of what's been going on with me. Also, I got a dog. I got a little Chihuahua. I wasn't expecting this. Like, I wasn't really planning on it. I had been kind of thinking about it, and I think I emailed the person like on a Sunday night, and by Tuesday I had the dog. So I haven't had a dog since I was a kid, and I love dogs. I love all animals, but I always felt like I was too busy for a dog, right? That's what I kept telling myself. So I always just had cats. But this little dog has been like such a bright spot for me. Like, I'm surprised at how much he's improved my mood. He's just, funny, makes me laugh. I mean, those of you with dogs and those of you who've had dogs for a while, you already know this, but I just haven't had a dog for so long, and having this little guy just run around after me and be all happy and, smile at me. And it's been a very good thing for me. And especially with my boyfriend being gone, and not that a dog obviously fills the void of a boyfriend, but it's something else to focus on. And that's been needed for me, at least. So yeah, that's a few things that are going on with me. We're coming into fall, obviously, at the time that I'm recording this, and I feel like I was a little nervous about that going into winter with just the way this year has been, but I'm feeling better about things, and the dog has helped. So I hope you guys are feeling good too. I know, depending on where you are, we're coming up to the election. I'm sure everybody is worn out with the topic, and so that's really why I wanted to talk about this week. This question came to my mind of, what does the truth feel like? One of the things that I've been struggling with over the past couple of weeks just this, like, there's so much happening, right? And everything feels out of balance to me, right? Like, I've talked about this whole year about the things that I used to do to, get relief from something are no longer available, right? And I'm sure everybody's going through the same thing, right? And it's like, as the population, we've lost our footing. Like, we're trying to make sense of the world because the things that we used to go to, they aren't there, or they aren't there in the same way. And so it's causing a lot of rethinking, a lot of redoing. And I feel like for me that I'm searching something out, but I don't know what it is that I'm searching, right? I'm like looking to someone else to give me the answer about something. And it's not even about just the world. I don't know. It's like, I feel like that, I guess I'm searching for something to make sense, and it's not there, right? I'm not finding it. It's not, I don't know. Like I used to read things or, come across things that help me sort things out. But I feel like that's not happening these days. And all that seems to do is just, it makes me feel more confused. It makes me feel more like, what the fuck? Like, it makes me feel more like, what is, when is this going to end? Like, when can I go back to quote normal? Right. And, so as I was going about I don't know when this came to my mind a couple of weeks ago, but it was just this question, like, what does the truth feel like? And I thought about that, like, what does the truth feel like for me? Because I know it when I read something that resonates with me. I know that feeling of truth in my body. It's like a energetic, like, relaxation, right? Like it sits with me. It's settled. Like it feels right. It feels, I feel in agreement with it, right? Like if I read something or I hear something, or even if I'm thinking something, right, in my own head, my own thoughts, like if I'm thinking something, I know those feelings that are bullshit, right? I know those scary thoughts that come up that aren't true, but yet they want to go crazy in my mind, right? Like we all know this, right? We know, sometimes we just don't pay attention to it, but we know. And so this question, what does the truth feel like? I was thinking about this as I'm listening, consuming media, right? Like, I've actually started to set an intention before I consume any media these days. Like, set this intention that I'm going to, I'm only going to see something that resonates with me. I'm only going, I'm not going to get sucked down these rabbit holes of negativity, of craziness, of just out of control, wacko bullshit that is happening, right? Like I actually set an intention before consuming any media. And so this question of what does the truth feel like? And as I'm consuming media and I'm reading things or I'm watching things, right, I can discern these things by how they feel inside of me, right? Like, well, that doesn't feel right to me, so that's not my truth. Or that feels right to me, so yeah, okay, I want to keep going with this topic, right? And there's, right now we have so many so-called experts or so many so-called authoritative figures telling us what to do, right? From health experts to the government, and I use the word expert in air quotes, right? Like, to me, we are our own expert. We're the expert on ourselves. No one else, right? We are the expert on our own selves. And so these people telling us things, telling us what to do, just because someone that is positioned in society as a quote expert or as a quote authority figure, just because they say something doesn't mean we have to believe it, right? It doesn't mean it has to be true for us, right? So as we're listening and we're seeing these things, like around here in Nashville, there's more, the mask mandates again. They had lifted it in some of the surrounding counties, but now that's coming back again. And these people are trying to quote these figures and these reasons why. And this whole time, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, what you're saying you're doing this in the name of safety, but what is safe about keeping people isolated, keeping people locked up in their homes, not allowing people to go to work for a virus that has a 99.99% recovery rate? Like, I don't get it, right? I don't get it. And so, as I'm consuming these things, I'm like, just because someone says it and is positioned as an authoritative person or an expert, it doesn't mean we have to believe it. And as I continue to watch things or consume things, I'm to the point now where I literally can't take most things. I mean, it's too much. It's not my truth, right? It's bullshit to me. Like, I don't believe it. Like, that isn't what I see as my reality. So if you all want to think that, that's fine, but that's not what I believe. That's not my truth. And so asking that question, what does the truth feel like? I think that helps us get it helps us get more into our body, right? We're so used to going through life and living from our logical mind or making decisions from our logical mind. And that's fine, right? We need that piece of, or that way of behaving, right? There's many reasons why, but we need that, right? But now it feels like we're in this turning point. There's so much happening. We're shifting, I believe, as a consciousness. I mean, I felt this from the very beginning, that this is something that, from a mass consciousness perspective, we're on a turning point for humanity with this. But this is a time, we've spent so much time alone, right? We've spent so much time doing things that were not what we're used to doing, right? All this kind of stuff, which leaves us with a lot of time to ourselves. And we can stay in that logical mind, but because we have this time, it's like downtime, right? We have more time to be with ourselves, be in our body, and see what things feel like to us, right? Like, one thing I've noticed about myself recently is I'm so tired, and I don't know why. There's not really any given reason, but like I guess maybe also because it's getting darker earlier, but I really don't think that's it, because it happened even this summer. But I feel exhausted, and I don't know why. And I've gotten to that point where instead of fighting it with myself or trying to make myself do things, I just accept it. I just rest when I need to, right? I'm not in this mindset anymore of forcing myself to do things because I feel like it's on my list and I need to do it, right? I'm spending more time paying attention to how I feel about something, like how that feels internally to me. And part of that allows us to it's that we can understand things from more of that energetic resonance, right? Everything is energy, right? Everything in the world is energy. So it allows us to tune into that. I think by feeling in our body and being in our body, we become more intuitive, not only within ourselves, but to what's going on around us. And we can start to tap into that and understand, okay, what does this feel like to me, right? Does this feel good to me? Does what this person is saying feel good? Does that resonate with me? Does it feel fearful and restrictive and tight and closed off and like clamped down, right? There's two totally different ends of the spectrum of that energetic resonance. And if you start to tune into that and pay attention to that in your own body, you're going to start to notice that you act differently, that you do things a little differently, that you're not operating so much from that logical place and thinking you have to do something because the supposed expert said I should, or you're doing it because it's what makes sense to you, right? And in doing that and showing other people that you do that, that's a way that we can spread truth to other people. When other people start to see that this is not something that the human population right now is used to doing, right? People are used to being told what to do. That's part of the whole seeking thing, like I was talking about, that I felt like at the beginning, like I'm seeking something out. I'm trying to find information because honestly, I'm used to it too, right? We're all used to someone else telling us what to do, and then we act accordingly, right? But this part of this great awakening, I feel like, is moving away from that, right? We're moving away from being told what to do and tuning in more intuitively into ourselves, feeling into our body, and coming more from that energetic resonance of what feels good to us. And so when we're feeling this, and again, like I was saying, like when you're doing this and other people see you do this, it starts to help the population, I think, in general. Like, people start to understand this, or they start to open up to this, right? Because I feel like most people know something is wrong, right? 99% of the people know that what's happening right now is not normal from so many different levels. Most people are worn down, they're tired, they're just leave me the fuck alone so I can go get whatever I need to get and take care of myself or my family or whoever it is, right? But until we start to until we start to operate from this place of, I'm doing what feels good to me, right? I'm no longer, quote, taking orders and falling in line for this shit that doesn't work for me, that doesn't add up, that makes no fucking sense, right? And I think as a human, again, as the human population, that's what part of this is about, is we're no longer seeking outside of ourselves. We're looking within for the answers and doing what feels right to us. And the only way you're going to know what the truth feels like, go back to that question this week, what does the truth feel like? The only way you're going to know that is to be in your body. It's to experience things from within your body, understand, take the cues that your body is giving you, feel those feelings, feel what feels right to you, and feel what doesn't feel right, and letting that lead rather than leading from the logical mind. And asking yourself, how does this feel for me? Is this my truth? Does this feel right for me? And so, as we've talked about for, what is this, almost 3 years now on this show, you get to decide what you believe. You get to decide what you believe. Just because somebody says it doesn't mean you have to believe it, right? And we've even talked about this in our own minds. Just because we think it doesn't mean it's true. And we have the choice, we have the option not to believe it. So this week, as you're thinking about this question, what does the truth feel like? I would encourage you to start to listen to the cues that your body is giving you, right? Like, listen to what something that feels like truth to you feels like in your body, and listen, or when something doesn't feel true to you, notice those cues that your body's giving you too, right? Like, for me right now, like, if something feels true, my body relaxes and I feel open to it. And if something doesn't feel true to me, it's almost like my body wants to turn away and I want to close in like a little ball and be like, no, get away from me, right? Like, those are my cues. Yours might be different, and that's as expected, right? We're not all the same in this. But as you move forward this week, decide about that, right? Think about that. Decide what you want to believe about things. Decide what you want to be your truth. And as I was thinking about this question, there were some other questions that came up about this that may also help you as you sort through this week. So here's some other questions to ponder this week. So what does seeing the truth look like for me, right? Not only what does my truth feel like, but when I see the truth, what does that look like, right? What does that feel like inside me? What does feeling the truth, how can I tell when I feel the truth, right? How can I tell energetically within myself when it's true for me? What does my freedom feel like, right? This isn't something I think we ask ourselves very often. We just assume because we live in the US that we're free, but really? I mean, look around. I think we would have plenty of examples otherwise. So what does my freedom feel like? What does my free will feel like, right? Like, being able to walk into somewhere as you normally would without a mask, if that's right for you, right? What does that feel like? And what does taking back my power feel like? That to me is like one of the best questions for 2020. What does taking back my power feel like? Because I feel like this whole year has been take from the human race, right? Take everything. Keep them isolated, keep them locked down, keep them separated, right? All of this stuff, keep them in fear, right? But the thing is we have a choice. We don't have to believe that. If that's not your truth, you don't have to believe it. You don't have to believe it. And the only way you're really going to know is to go within and feel this, right? Go within and feel. And trust yourself. Trust yourself. Like, that's the biggest thing, right? Trust yourself. And from there, you get to create your own reality, right? Within that trust, if you know that, you know somebody who's so sure in their conviction or in their belief or in their truth, right? You get to be that person too, right? You can live from that way. You just have to decide that that's how it's going to go for you, right? Like, no longer are you taking orders from somebody. No longer are you going to believe what someone tells you on your TV, right? Like, if it's not true for you, you don't have to believe it. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons for this year for all of us is we get to decide. We get to decide. And most importantly, we get to decide what the truth feels like for us. All right, so that's it this week for our topic of what does the truth feel like? I would love to know what you think about this. If you have any questions, you can email me, sloanfremont@gmail.com. Remember, my new social media accounts, I'll link to them in the show notes. I'm on Parler, Mayway. I also have a Telegram channel. I would love for you to join us on there. Telegram added some features where you can now comment on posts. I also have a private chat too, so please join me on there. If you're not familiar with Telegram, It's a great way to communicate. Actually, that's one of the primary ways I get information these days. I no longer participate in, for the most part, in censored sites. So, and Telegram isn't, there's a lot, that could be a whole nother show to talk about that. But for the most part, Telegram is where I like to spend my time. So I hope you join me there. Let's see what else. Don't forget my course, 33 Days of Magic, where you can take this, what we talk about this. You can take what we talk about on the show and take it one step further and apply it in your own life. That's 33daysofmagic.com. And if you have any questions, if you want to need anything else, you can find information on my website, sloanfremont.com. All right, so that's it this week for our topic of what does the truth feel like? Remember, question everything, trust yourself, and find your truth.